Maureen Lipman has come out to condemn organisations like the BBC, what she calls bleeding heartless liberals, for their failure to condemn absolutely Hamas as a terrorist organisation from the very beginning. And she's absolutely right. I remember seeing Maureen Lipman in Oklahoma at the National Theatre. I remember seeing her in Wonderful Town, where she was spectacular. She is a wonderful actress. She was the voice and heart of the BT, of the telephone campaign, for many years, and she's also on Celebrity Gogglebox, I think. Anyway, a number of people have signed, public figures have signed what's called an October Declaration to condemn the terrorist attacks on Israel and the related anti-Semitism that has occurred. And all of this following criticism of the BBC, of the Metropolitan Police and the way they have handled protests in London, the tolerance of people shouting jihad, but also the inadequacy of the system. And if people understood the details of religion, there would be significantly less trouble. Maureen Lipman says these bleeding, heartless liberals care so deeply for the Palestinians that they espouse their cause at the expense of every other oppressed people of the world. Shame, shame, shame on every one of you. She is quite right. And people like Tom Stoppard, Sir Tim Rice, Tom Holland, Lord Roberts, Richard Dawkins have all joined to demonstrate as a group of very concerned British citizens and residents from a wide range of backgrounds and professions who stand in solidarity with British Jews and condemn all forms of anti-Semitism. Remember, one of the points which people keep raising in the comment section is anti-Semitism is a word that could apply equally to Arabs. Well, insofar as the Arabic language is also a Semitic language, that's true. But the word anti-Semitism was coined by the Germans in the late 19th century as a word of abuse and intolerance, and it's been appropriated and reconditioned effectively. It still retains its original intention, which is to focus on Jews rather than on any other Semitic languages or any other people that uses Semitic languages. But so anti-Semitism, maybe I need to make a separate video on this, but anti-Semitism is about being anti-Jewish. And we can play around with the etymology as much as we want to, but we have to place the etymology within the context of the word as it was coined. And there's a rise in anxiety, a rise in fear among the British Jewish community, and with good reason. And at the same time, I think we have to recognize that the Palestinians are in despair and are facing a siege by Netanyahu's government. And I think it's perfectly okay to recognize the importance of the State of Israel, to recognize the importance of the Jewish community in this country, and also to condemn the actions of a specific government, the government of Netanyahu. We recognize and we share an understanding of the problem. The problem is the rise of Hamas. The problem might also be the failure of the Netanyahu government to keep its eye on the ball, but the problem is the rise of Hamas. And the solution is about the variety of options to take out Hamas, to get rid of Hamas from the territory. I think the solution that Netanyahu's government has opted for is the wrong solution and is not likely to produce the result they want. Rather than ridding the country of Hamas, which they might do, they are spawning a society, a culture of support for anti-Israel demonstration and anti-Israel feeling, and that was unnecessary. And they might rid the territory of Hamas, but there will be another, a monstrous terrorist organization to grow up in its place. It's like the Hydra that Hercules faced. Cut off one head and another one grows back in its place. And this was an unnecessary approach. There were other approaches. The one that I proposed some time ago is that Israel should have called upon the local Muslim states, particularly Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, to form some sort of military force that could join Israel in a ground assault on Gaza, because it's in all of their interests to rid the territory of Hamas and to restore order. But I'm afraid prime ministers like Naftali Bennett, who was questioned on the BBC yesterday, and Benjamin Netanyahu are part of a right-wing cabal that do not want to make peace with Palestine, or that want to squash Palestine into their own image. That's not right. We need a two-state solution, or even a one-state solution.